Alright, so questions for the author, Katherine Applegate. Your main character, Jackson, is a 5th grader whose family is living on the brink of homelessness. What made you decide to give Jackson an imaginary friend, and why a large cat? She answers, although I don't recall ever having had an imaginary friend as a kid these days. Like all fiction writers, I have plenty. When you think about it, an imaginary friend is a lovely and wildly creative conceit. A wonderful way to navigate a complex world when you're a child. Imaginary friends are confidants, companions, and scapegoats, on call 24/7. Sort of like the perfect husband. With Crenshaw, I wanted to explore what it would be like for a pragmatic, just-the-facts young man to have his old imaginary friend, a relic of his little kid days, suddenly return. How would he deal with it? Would he be embarrassed, annoyed, delighted? I debated what form Crenshaw should take. After all, imaginary friends come in all sizes, shapes, and species. But in the end, I knew he had to be a cat, precisely because it seemed so counterintuitive. Cats have a reputation for being aloof and narcissistic. I like the idea of playing against type. Crenshaw is silly, fond of bubble baths and purple jelly beans, but most importantly, he loves Jackson with all his heart. Next question. Jackson has what seems to be a close-knit family. His parents are concerned he is ever watchful of his little sister, yet his family is in near crisis, and Jackson is dealing with so much stress. You could have given his family more obvious issues, such as alcoholism or divorce. Why did you depict them as you did? Jackson's family is what policymakers would call working poor or food insecure. Jackson doesn't know those terms, and most children who are hungry in the U.S., 1 in 5 kids don't know either. They just know they dread weekends, when school breakfast and lunches aren't available, and summers when it's even harder for the parents to keep adequate food in the house. Jackson's family is loving and hardworking, like so many poor families in our country. His parents have faced illness, job loss, but somehow they managed to cobble together part-time, low-paying jobs to keep things going. I want to write a book for kids like Jackson, kids whose families are doing everything they can to get by, yet still struggling. It's a huge problem in this country, one that doesn't get nearly enough attention and one that kids are embarrassed to discuss. There is a scene involving Ritz Crackers that tips his hat to librarians. Is there a real-life event that inspired this particular scene? The inspiration for that scene came from a statistic that I found both moving and heartbreaking. Over a third of teachers buy food more than once a month for their students. Typically, they spend about $35 of their own money each month, just trying to keep hungry kids fed. Crenshaw is very charming and may remind some adult readers of Harvey, the oversized rabbit in the famous Jimmy Stewart movie. Is that intentional? Oh man, how I love the movie Harvey. And if you haven't seen it, head to Netflix. I actually used a quote from Harvey as an epigraph for Crenshaw. And yes, Crenshaw and Harvey have large, very large steroid skin and large fuzzy animals. This is your first novel since winning the Newbery Medal. How does it feel to publish a new book? I'm filled with relief, excitement, in equal measure. The book was truly a labor of love, a long labor. One of the best parts of winning the Newbery, and there are many, is that you have the opportunity to travel to lots of schools. During these visits, I met kids like Jackson, and that was when I decided to write Crenshaw. And then this is a preview of her next book called Wish Tree. Red is an oak tree who is many rings old. Red's the neighborhood wish tree. People write their wishes on pieces of cloth and tie them to Red's branches. You might say Red has seen it all, until a new family moves in. Not everyone is welcoming, and Red's experiences as a wish tree are more important than ever. Alright, so that is the end of Crenshaw. So tomorrow I will start with a read aloud book for Christmas time.